If you go back 15 years, Harry Styles was just a teenager from a boy band who didn't even win the X Factor. He wasn't yet a global pop star or a fashion icon or someone who could sell out stadiums on his own. And now he's one of the biggest pop stars on the planet. I'm Don Huddersfield. Join me as we explain just how Harry Styles got so big. Harry Styles was 1/5 of One Direction, and it's easy to forget just how big they were. They were everywhere. Stadium tours, constant number ones, total global domination. For a few years, they were basically unavoidable. But the thing is with boy bands is they're not designed to last forever. They peak, they explode, and it's all over within a few years. So when One Direction went on hiatus in 2016, few people thought all the guys were going to become global superstars. Most people asked, which one will survive? And a lot of people expected Zayn to have the string of massive streaming number ones. When Harry Styles went solo, the expectation was pretty simple. A few big pop singles, instant radio hits, chart domination straight away, and then fade into obscurity after a few years. Well, that's not quite what happened. His debut album did have Sign of the Times, which was a huge, dramatic, Bowie-esque mega hit, but it wasn't packed with obvious radio smash singles, because instead of chasing constant hits, he was leaning into something else entirely. He was building in classic rock influences, live instrumentation, and slower, more atmospheric songwriting that you might not associate with former boy band members. It felt like he was saying, this is my direction now, take it or leave it, and people really did take it. Loads of boy band members try to reinvent themselves to gain more credibility. Most of the time it doesn't really land, and a lot of the time it's because audiences won't let go of the original image. But Harry Styles managed this slowly over time. He turned into a version of himself that's classic rock influenced, fashion forward, confident on stage, and completely comfortable in his identity. And it never feels forced. It feels like he grew into it naturally, and that's a big reason why it works. By the time Harry released his second album, things started to click more commercially. His songs were staying on the top 40 for ages. The sound was getting a bit cleaner, a bit more polished, and a bit more poppy, but still with a rock edge. By the time he releases his third album, he's fully operating at global pop star level, and as it was, stays at number one for well over 2 months. His albums worked as complete projects, his tours were exploding, and everything was building on everything else. It was a slow, steady climb, and it just keeps going up. At some point, Harry Styles became more than just a singer, he became something broader, he became a cultural figure. People were talking about not just his music, but his fashion, his image, his stage presence, the way he carried himself, and the whole Harry Styles effect. He's even studied in universities now, as a musician as well as a cultural case study around identity, masculinity, fandom and modern celebrity. And that's wild when you think about it, because most pop stars don't get turned into academic discussion topics. Harry's often called a pop icon, a fashion icon and a global icon. He's been compared to people from the past like Bowie, Prince and Elton John a lot. A lot of people don't agree with that, but the big point is, success isn't just mentioned in chart positions anymore, it's measured in influence, in fashion and exposure. However, it's not just about image. There's real musical depth to Harry Styles. He was recently asked to curate London's Meltdown Festival at the South Bank Centre, and he didn't put together a safe, obvious playlist of names. He built a lineup that included jazz, indie, electronic and experimental music, including cosmic jazz from Kazami Washington, FEO jazz legend Mulatto Astatke, UK jazz players like Yusuf Days and Shabaka Hutchins, indie acts like Warpaint and Nilufer Yanya, left field artists like Baritalia and Stephen Fretwell, experimental crossover projects and electronic sets ranging from John Hopkins to a DJ set from James Murphy of LCD Sound System. He's not just name-dropping influences to look good, there's a lot of evidence that he actually listens deeply and really understands scenes outside of mainstream pop. In his newer work you can hear another shift. He's moved away from classic rock territory a bit, and there's a bigger electronic music influence coming in. His songs are a bit groovier and more rhythm-led, and there's a big influence from people like LCD Sound System and Hot Chip. The music's more experimental in texture and dancier. And this is really important because it shows that the pattern hasn't stopped and is still evolving. By the time they reach the fourth album, most pop stars settle on a sound and keep repeating it, but he keeps shifting it. And underneath everything, the numbers are still massive. He's had global number one albums, huge streaming success, record-breaking vinyl sales, and stadium tours which generate hundreds of millions. When you think about Harry Styles now, it can seem like it was all inevitable, but it really wasn't. His solo career exploded slowly, and he never stayed in one lane. And that explains why Harry Styles is big and one of the most defining pop figures of his generation. I've been Don Huddersfield. That was How Did Harry Styles Get So Big? See you next time. And if you like it, don't forget to subscribe.